Hey everyone, tonight we're going to be talking about a man that thinks he has a skinwalker in his backyard. Well, I shouldn't say he thinks there might be. He's trying to put it out there that he doesn't know exactly what it is, but he's leaning towards skinwalker. Let's round out who this guy is and give you a little bit of background just to give you a nice little foundation to understand where he's coming from. So the channel's name is Madd Vladd, and I'll be referring to him as Madd Vladd throughout the video. This isn't his original channel. He has a main channel. It's a gaming channel, and he's created this channel to put out the things he's experiencing. And I think he's looking for help online. I'm not too sure about what his plan is, but we'll get more into it. So before we talk about that, he's almost 40 years old. He used to live in the city, but he's made enough money to move out of there into more of an open area. And he doesn't live in like a house alone in the woods. He's living in a neighborhood where each house is like 20 feet apart or so. And their backyard's fenced off, right? But beyond that fence is a bunch of, like, I believe, agricultural fields. And so it all started one night when he was taking his puppy out to pee. He got a new puppy. And his wife was out there, and as the puppy was, doing his thing, they heard this strange barking noise that it kept repeating itself, and it didn't sound exactly like a dog, right? And he thought it was kind of funny, He's like, that's not a dog, this is some weird animal. And to like ease the tension, because, it's all a little bit unsettling to hear an animal that doesn't sound quite like an animal it's supposed to be. So he mocks it and he starts barking back, and then it keeps barking, and he giggles and he goes, yeah, that's not a dog. He says that to his wife.
Me and my girl were kind of puzzled.
That was the first night. And he hasn't thought anything of it yet. So the next night he goes out to smoke a cigar, because this guy enjoys a good cigar every now and then. So he's out there enjoying a cigar, and he hears this strange, slow, deep breathing. And he doesn't know where it's coming from. And he wants to find where it's coming from. So he will step closer to where the sound's coming from. But as he does that, it seems as if the breathing noise takes a step away. It's still keeping that perfect distance away. And he keeps stepping towards where the direction he thinks it's coming from. And it more and more keeps repeating, taking a further distance away from him, and he starts to freak out and get this terrible feeling in his stomach that it was trying to lure him away from the house and out into the fields. So he said, screw that, I'm going back inside. So he gets back inside, and that's when he starts checking the camera footage. And when he does that, he notices when he was out in the backyard looking for that noise, there's this little string thing in the camera, on the top left camera, and it was like kind of jumping around and dancing right in front of him. He has no idea what it is, and I'm going to play that for you now. So I think it's a pretty reasonable thing to say it could be a spider web, and he believes that too. Like, he's saying it's definitely, he's not saying that it's definitely not a spider web, but he's saying that he doesn't really have that vibe that's a spider web, because it only showed up during this one time, then disappeared again. And before that, he was having, like, his camera was having issues before it showed that on screen. He doesn't say that yet, but he comes back later to explain that there's been camera footage issues during these strange events. And so after that, he decides that he's going to try to find this thing. And, there's some coyotes howling one night. He records that, but I didn't think that's too interesting to show you guys, because, coyote noise is coyote noise. There is some suggestion of, that it wasn't really coyotes and it was skinwalkers, but we can get into that later in the video. So he decides, nothing's happening, enough that he can't just sit and wait for it to come back. He's got to go out there, provoke it himself and in hopes it will come out and show itself on camera again. So he decides to spend a night out in the fields, and he packs up, he brings his he gets his bike, and he brings an infrared camera to record at night. And it was a pretty nice one too. It had some good quality. Hops on his bike, he goes out there. He also brought some bear mace as protection, which I don't know about you, but I would have brought a lot more than just, bear mace if we think a skinwalker's out there. So he gets out there, he finds this nice lone pine tree out in the middle of the field, and what surrounds this pine tree is a bunch of cut down corn stalks, so they could be like yay high, they're not fully grown and like, corn stalks. They're just cut down. You can easily walk through them. So he picks that because he thought that would be a good place to stay. He sets up his camera. He puts his back against the tree, and he just sits there waiting for something to happen. And I guess the adrenaline and fear worn off enough to where he would fall asleep. And he is startled awake rudely by some coyotes. I don't think that was staged, because I could just be chance that coyotes scared him awake and he thought that would be good convincing, who knows. So he hops on his bike and he packs up, and as he's packing up to get out of there, he said he could hear the shuffling noises all around him, circling around him through the corn stalks, and he said that was the most terrifying thing, but he couldn't get it on camera. And he hops on his bike and he gets out of there, he gets home, and he decides that he's going to go to sleep and that he's never going to do something like that again. So the next morning, he's looking back on that night, and he thinks that his belief of being out there with a camera is the best way to catch whatever's out there that's messing with him. But it's not the safest way to be out there by yourself sleeping. So he decided the safest way is to get some hunting cameras and put them up and hope that whatever's out there walks on by and he catches on film. So he buys some cameras, he sets them up, and there's some nice footage of a dog, a guy on his tractor, and kids going fishing. And then it comes nighttime. Now that part is where it kind of gets iffy for me, because it's just that sound, that growl, it doesn't sound like an animal, but it sounds more human-like, but it doesn't sound 100% human, It's not like, that's obviously human if it sounded like that. It's pretty annoying when there's that, caught footage and it's just the, animal in question, and it's pressed up right against the camera. Now he says he was able to push the button and turn it off, and that it cuts out there. And I find that pretty interesting, although I do have my theories about cameras and the supernatural, it's just hypothetical if it really does exist. Now, after that, he decided he wants to go back out there, but he's not going to go back out there alone. So he invites his gaming buddies to come on down for 4th of July. And so they go, yeah, okay, we'll come on down, have a good time. They have a good time with fireworks, of course, like who wouldn't? And then they decide, we got the confidence to go back out there, but before they got out there, he bought some ghost hunting equipment. He bought an EMF reader, and if you don't know what that is, that's an electric magnetic field. Like, shoot, I'm really blanking. It measures the electric magnetic field and like how strong it is in a certain area, and the stronger it is, the more the lights light up. He doesn't really get much action out of that, so he switches over to his spirit box. And so he's out there with his friends, they said they hear some weird noises. There's some weird clicking noise that, you know, you can like suck your tongue on the roof of your mouth and make that pop noise. So he was doing that, and apparently it was making that noise back, but that wasn't seen on camera except for the ending part where he started it, where he kept doing it, and his friend told him to knock it off because last time he did that, it called back. Now after that, they get the spirit box out and they start trying to ask questions.
Let's use both. Good. Yeah, I'll hold this, the other one.
So after those pretty scary responses, his decision is to go back home and say goodbye to his friends, and his friends go back. And then there's one night that he is looking at the cameras and he notices it's doing that cut in and out thing again. And he knows what's doing that, right? And he's looking for it. He's scrubbing through the video, and there it is. There's that string again, just bouncing around, dancing in the camera on his lawn. And he's like, I got to go get a second pair of, you know, eyes on it, you know, with his phone camera, I believe it was. So he runs out there and he's trying to find it, and he's filming around. He brings his dog as an extra sense of security, and he's getting up along his fence, and that's when he hears what I'm assuming a little girl say "Daddy," freaks out, and he runs back.
Charlie.
Daddy! Oh my God! Now I will admit that ending gave me a lot of chills, but for a couple of reasons. One, I'm absolutely terrified of these things. Don't even really want to say it because I've said it so many times, and there's like a whole thing about you're not really supposed to say the name, and it because it attracts them to you. And you know, I think I definitely hit my quota for probably 3 months at least. And I was watching this at 2 a.m, so that didn't help. And then right after the video ended, I have coyotes where I live, and they started doing that howling, screaming thing, like after they did a kill, and they're like celebrating. I think that's what they're doing. And so I was really spooked. I could not sit still. I'm just very thankful to have 2 dogs where I sleep. So like, I had my old girl Jenner with me, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna protect me. You're gonna let me know if anything's wrong. Anyways, that's irrelevant. So the whole thing that really got me scared was that if this is a skinwalker, this is a kind of like okay, we're assuming that it is. This is their whole MO. That's what is to be believed is that these things, I don't want to say it, but I look like such a crazy person. I'm sorry, I'm getting so amped up. My brain is going a million directions right now. So their whole MO is that they don't outright attack you. Like they're kind of like a trap, they bring you in kind of hunting way, I guess. So they are known to imitate voices and animal calls really well. Like their biggest way is to pretend that there's someone or deeply care about, and they will call for help or something like that. And hopefully the plan is that you go, oh my God, this person needs my help, and you run off to go find them off into the direction where they are, and that's how they get you. And there is belief that even though they can sound like the person, they can't sound exactly right like them, and they also sound exactly the same. They will say like a certain phrase, like "help me," but then they can only say that in a certain voice, and it sounds exactly like it did the first time. And so that will give you kind of like a wait a sec, and that sounds really off to me. Like, how can you sound the exact same every time? So look out for that, guys. I do believe if it was a what, then that's what it was trying to do with the whole daddy thing. But a very likely possibility also is that it was his kid, and he's like, hey, you want to help me make a video that's gonna go crazy? Because skinwalker, fuck, uh, these things have been all over the internet lately, especially with TikTok for some reason. Now, I don't want to be that guy, but I was into them before TikTok made them cool. So I'm a little annoyed that they're now getting popular. And I don't know. Because the big issue is there's so much different information's getting out there now that you don't really know what's authentic anymore. Like, it used to be that Wendigos had red glowing eyes and skinwalkers had the yellow eyes. And now TikTok blew it up, and now it's like reversed, and everyone's saying, oh, skinwalkers got red eyes and Wendigos have yellow. I'm going to stick with these guys got yellow, Wendigos have red. To me, that also just makes a lot more sense, because the whole point of a Wendigo is like it's got this burning gluttony, I guess, for food, and just it has to eat all the time, and it's burning deep inside them, so it comes out in red. And I don't know, yellow eyes makes sense for me because these guys are kind of like more in the desert area, I guess. Not always. Okay, I'll put that out there because someone's gonna be like, well, actually, Skinwalker Ranch is up in Utah and there's plants up there. So yeah, if you're that guy, no offense, but you gotta chill out. Anyways, what do you guys think? I do think you should go check out his videos and get the real feel for it, you know, because you're not gonna get it from me, right? If you go watch his videos, you're gonna get a real good feeling of how everything builds up, and then you're gonna see things that I didn't talk about. You're gonna, you know, there's gonna be a lot more pieces connected, and it's gonna help form your thoughts if it's real or not. Also, I don't know what to think about his B-roll edits. Like, they are really solid, really nice, to the point of like, where's all this skill coming from, and why is it so perfect, you know? So go check it out. Go see what I mean by that. Come back, let me know what your thoughts are. If you already watched it and you're watching this now, do you think it's legit? Do you think he's faking it? Let me know. I'm very curious, and let me know why, because I want to know what you're looking for, and maybe I should look for it too. Now, if you want, I can make another video talking about them in just a very disorganized way, which probably don't want. So yeah, how am I gonna end this video? There's like something, I had a really good closing argument in my head, but now I lost it. Well, since I'm just starting this channel out and I'm testing the waters, I'm gonna have a very loosey-goosey feel to these videos, I guess. You know, it's not gonna be like so rigid and structured because I don't know what works. Yeah, and I know these videos are gonna be really bad in the beginning. Hopefully I get better if I stick with it. Let me know what you guys like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of. You know, if there's something you haven't seen that you would like to see. I do kind of want to keep it in the cryptids world. I don't really want someone to be like, oh, you should get into politics. I'm like, no, thank you. All right, sleep well, guys. Bye.